Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I am Uzma Jafri. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Wednesday, the 1st of November. Indian President appreciates Bhutan's support in resolving Doklam standoff. Baloch community holds protest in London against Chinese project in Balochistan. And ruling Nepali Congress releases its manifesto for upcoming polls. And now for all the details. Bhutan's King Jigme Khesar Namgyal Wangchuk on Wednesday met Indian President Ramnath Kovind and held talks of mutual interest in capital New Delhi. The Indian President appreciated the Bhutanese king's support in resolving a military standoff recently between troops of India and China in Bhutan's Doklam area.
Bhutan's King Jigme Khesar Namgyal Wangchuk on Wednesday met Indian President Ramnath Kovind at the Presidential Palace, Rashtrapati Bhavan in New Delhi. The Bhutanese king arrived on a 4-day visit to India on Tuesday. He is accompanied by his wife Queen Jetson Pema Wangchuk and son Prince Jigme Namgyal Wangchuk. The Bhutanese king and Indian president held talks during which President Kovind said that security concerns of India and Bhutan are indivisible and mutual. He conveyed deep appreciation for King Wangchuk's support in addressing the recent situation in the Doklam area. Earlier in the day, King Wangchuk also met Indian Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj and held talks on a range of issues of mutual interest. The royal family's visit aims to review the entire gamut of bilateral relations between the two countries. The Bhutanese king during his stay will be meeting officials of Indian leadership.
Singapore's foreign minister met the provincial chief of India's northeastern Assam province on Wednesday. Both held discussions on a wide range of areas and also witnessed the inking of Memorandum of Understanding on setting up of a skill development centre in the province under Indian Prime Minister's Skill India initiative.
Visiting Singaporean Foreign Minister Vivian Balakrishnan on Wednesday arrived in India's northeastern Assam province. Balakrishnan met Assam's Chief Minister Sarbananda Sonowal in capital Guwahati and held discussions on a range of areas including cooperation in connectivity. Both the leaders also witnessed the inking of a Memorandum of Understanding or MOU to launch a skill development centre being set up with Singapore's assistance in the province under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Skill India initiative. Sonowal urged the government of Singapore to explore Assam, especially the tourism sector, and increase cultural interactions for mutual benefit. Balakrishnan is on a 2-day visit to India aimed at bolstering ties between the two countries.
Moving on to news from Pakistan. Pakistan's ruling Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz has chosen ousted Premier Nawaz Sharif's brother Shahbaz Sharif as the next prime ministerial candidate. The decision was reportedly taken during a top-level party meeting in London, taking in view of the corruption cases against Nawaz Sharif.
Pakistan's ruling Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz or PMLN has decided to put forward Shahbaz Sharif as prime ministerial candidate after the 2018 elections. The decision to pitch Shahbaz, the younger brother of party president and Pakistan's ousted Premier Nawaz Sharif, was taken during a meeting in London on Monday, reports suggest. This came after taking in view the July 28 disqualification of Nawaz Sharif under the Supreme Court orders in the Panama Papers case might not be overturned by the vote due next year. An accountability court has been hearing corruption references against Nawaz Sharif filed by National Accountability Bureau for owning assets beyond known sources of income. He was indicted last month in the references along with his children and son-in-law. The next hearing in the case is to be held on November 3.
Meanwhile, members of Baloch community in the United Kingdom recently held a protest against a Chinese development project in southern Balochistan. The protesters alleged that Pakistan and China jointly plan to occupy the land of Baloch and sell the resources of Balochistan.
Baloch community members in the United Kingdom gathered outside a hotel in London recently to protest against the China Park Hill real estate developer's official launch. China Park Hills is a development project by China near the southwestern Balochistan province. The protesters said that Pakistan and China plan attempts of occupation of Balochistan province by building developmental projects only for outsiders and not the Baloch people. They also chanted slogans against the multi-billion-dollar China-Pakistan Economic Corridor or CPEC and human rights violations in Balochistan.
Pakistani Punjabi establishment and Chinese, they have got exhibition about water, and they want to sell flats and the properties in Gwada, and even there is no single Baloch in their representative. It shows clearly that Pakistanis and Chinese plan in terms of occupation of Balochistan and selling the resources of Balochistan.
Chinese are not welcome into Balochistan, and we ask the Chinese don't invest your money in Balochistan. We ask the international investor do not invest in Balochistan. Balochistan is occupied land, and Baloch resist the Pakistani occupation of Balochistan.
The Baloch community members vowed to continue their protests against China Park Hills and other real estate groups that are selling the land of Baloch people.
In news from Afghanistan, the death toll in green zone area bombing in Afghan capital Kabul rose to 9 on Tuesday. A suicide bomber reportedly detonated his explosives inside the green zone. Islamic State claimed responsibility for the attack.
The death toll in an explosion that ripped through Afghan capital Kabul's heavily fortified diplomatic area of Wazir Akbar Khan on Tuesday rose to 9. A suicide bomber reportedly detonated his explosives inside the green zone after entering the area through a park bordering the diplomatic zone. He was able to penetrate the layers of security and gain access directly into the highly fortified area. Islamic State claimed responsibility for the attack. The explosion comes as security in Kabul has been heightened following a series of attacks in October, including one on a Shiite mosque in the city that killed more than 50 people.
Afghan President Ashraf Ghani met with Russia's National Security Advisor Nikolai Patrushev on Tuesday in capital Kabul. In a statement released by the presidential palace, both sides discussed ways to jointly combat terrorism. Ghani said that terrorism is not only a threat to Afghanistan, but is a threat to the region and to foreign countries. He emphasized that a joint and a serious combat plan is needed for a unified strategy. Meanwhile, Russia's National Security Advisor said his country wants a stable Afghanistan and is ready for any kind of cooperation in the fight against terrorism. Patrushev said that Russia also wants to expand its economic cooperation with Afghanistan. Moving on, Nepal's ruling Nepali Congress has become the first party to come up with its manifesto ahead of the upcoming federal and provincial polls. The party's main agendas for the polls include introduction of wealth redistribution programs and social insurance schemes.
Nepalese Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Deuba's Nepali Congress has advocated for wealth redistribution programs and social insurance schemes as its main agenda for the upcoming polls. The ruling Nepali Congress party on Tuesday unveiled its election manifesto for the federal and provincial polls, slated to be held on November 26 and December 7 in two phases. The manifesto states that the Nepali Congress believes in a welfare state and the main agenda of its socialist policy is to create a just and equitable society. The manifesto has identified direct cash transfers, subsidy on public services and goods, and minimum employment guarantee provision as some of the ways to redistribute wealth. It has also said health and crop insurance would be introduced, aimed at minimizing risks as part of social insurance schemes. In order to meet the economic output target, the party has said it would focus on foreign direct investment, development of transport, energy and manufacturing sectors, and promotion of tourism and agricultural sectors.
In news from Sri Lanka, wildlife protection officials in Sri Lanka rescued a wild elephant on Tuesday that had fallen into a mud well 3 days ago. Officials, after the 3-hour rescue operation, guided the animal to the nearby jungle in Anuradhapura district.
Wildlife protection officials in Sri Lanka's northern central Anuradhapura district on Tuesday rescued a wild elephant that had fallen into a mud well 3 days ago. Villagers in the area informed the authorities about the incident and a 3-hour operation was then launched to help the animal. During the rescue, an excavator to cut a path from the well was used to climb out the elephant. Firecrackers were lit to guide the animal to the nearby jungle after his rescue. The recent drought in most parts of Sri Lanka is one of the reasons that animals are forced to move into human settlements in search of food and water.
An all-women monastery in India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province has become beacon of hope for aspiring nuns in Ladakh region. The monastery provides both monastic education and spiritual nurturing to the nuns as part of their grooming process.
A Buddhist monastery in India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province is nowadays engaged in grooming nuns with both spiritual and modern learning. Run by the Ladakh Nuns Association or LNA, the all-women monastery was set up in Ladakh area in 2012 with a senior secondary school library inside it and a farmland of its own. Student nuns here are proud and happy about the grooming sessions.
I feel very proud of myself to be a nun because we get opportunity to study both modern education and about Buddhism.
I became a nun in the year 2008. Now I am studying in London Model Senior Secondary School with
Buddhism since its inception has always advocated for women saints or nuns. With the same aim, LNA in Ladakh region was established in 1996 to encourage aspiring nuns, improve life skills and groom them for both monastic and secular education.
Well, that's all we have for you from South Asia this evening. Now our viewers can watch the show on southasianewsline.com. You can also visit us on facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.